This is the Agent Goldmine, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what the killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it. All tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of The Agent Goldmine. Today, Shelby and I are interviewing Melissa Roybal, and you can find her on Instagram at Melissa Roybal Homes on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all. And Melissa's background, Melissa and I have known each other for 3 years now, I think. We met originally through investing stuff, and then we both got heavier into real estate agent stuff together. So we've seen each other at conferences and all the things. Okay, Melissa, your background. You got your real estate license back in 2004. That was after buying your home using seller financing and house hacking, which we've interviewed you on Investify. So listen to that episode on those specifics. And then you kind of got back you purchased a bunch of rental properties near and far, and you stopped being a full-time realtor. And instead, you went to pediatric nurse for 10 years while you were still investing. And then in 2021, you got back into real estate agent stuff. That was so you started a new career and you moved your entire family from the Bay Area to Folsom, which is where you are now. So today's topics that we're going to go deep dive into are how you're a boss at converting online leads and the tips for first-time home buyers. So Melissa, I am stoked to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Dude, okay, Melissa, so you have been in real estate for a long time and you recently got back into real estate. You mentioned with the intention of using your license for investing, but got sucked into being an agent again.
I got sucked in big time. So
tell us about why'd you get sucked in? Why did you allow yourself to get sucked back in?
I don't know. I like doing all these things. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So it's, I love the investing and I love doing that. But to be frank with you, I came up here, we moved up here, and my job allowed me to work telehealth for a year. And then I started, I was looking for jobs and I'm like, oh, I don't really see anything that I like. I really liked my previous job. And we were like full on into real estate investing at that time. I think before that I had met Allie, but Allie, I was like all into it, going to conferences, doing all this stuff. And then actually I had a bad experience with one of my out-of-state rentals with an agent. And there was like no communication, nothing going on. And I was like, oh, then it just gave me the itch to get back into it. So here I am. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do it to connect with other investors and do all that stuff. And then I found myself starting to do the sales and I got sucked in. So here I am. But it's a lot of fun.
You sound thrilled.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. People think it's easy, now with social media and everything, people think it's easy, but it's a lot of work, but it's good.
Yeah. So when you first got licensed the second time around, were you doing more so online leads, or what were your leads like?
So when I started, because I was in a brand new place. So when I used to do real estate sales back in the Bay Area, like I grew up there. My dad's a retired police officer. Like we had all the connections. So I come up here, I know nobody, right? So I started paying for Zillow Leads, and that worked out really well. I stopped paying for them, I want to say 8 months ago, but yeah, that worked out really well.
How much money did you?
I was
Allie.
Yeah. I knew I was going to get asked. You guys are all about the
we want to know. We want to know it all,
yes.
Melissa.
Yeah, yes. For sure. So I was doing $2,200 a month, and then I dropped it to $1,600. So yeah, it was around $2,000 a month. And I want to say from what I put in, I think I got a 4-time ROI on it.
Wow.
So it was good.
Yeah. So going from usually people, I think, do the opposite. Like they start slow and then they increase.
Yeah.
What was the decision-making as far as either like zip codes, or I only know a little bit about Zillow. What was it going from 2,000 to less?
Just because I felt like I was spending a lot on it. And I mean, I don't know if I don't think it was luck in the beginning, but you're getting people coming in on your leads. And then there's other stuff, right? So once you really start getting into the real estate sales, then you realize there's other stuff that I need to do, or putting my systems in place. So you can't just be, and then with Zillow, like you have to be on your phone. like you have to be there. Like 9 o'clock at night, I remember I was like in a hotel with my kids and like the Zillow thing rings and I'm like out in the hallway, hey, start talking. So I was kind of, I didn't want that to be my main lead source. I wanted to switch it up so I could have boundaries in my life and all that stuff. I didn't want to be attached to my phone until, all hours of the night. So I started kind of tapering back, but it does depend on zip code. So I didn't want to go, like I could have spent way less and gotten zip codes further away from me, but I wanted only the zip codes that were right where I live.
I feel like with Zillow or any paid leads that are bringing in a bunch of leads, also there comes to a point where it's, I now don't need more. I just need to actually follow up with the ones that I get. Or otherwise, it's just like you're blowing money and you're getting the hot leads and you're only chasing like the hot ones and not converting the ones you've already paid for.
For sure. And out of one, there was one, my first Zillow lead turned into 4 transactions. So that was really good.
What? Okay, explain that.
Yeah. So I was working with him and his wife. And I didn't even think they liked me when we first met. They were like super weird and quiet. I think they were scared, because they were making a huge purchase and had been in their house for 30 years. But we connected and stuff. He was actually a professor where I went to undergrad. So we connected on that level. But they ended up buying a house, like a $1.8 million house. And then they wanted to move the mom. So I ended up doing all their families deals over the next few months. And then he bought a rental property also. So I think the thing is like with Zillow, I think it's good if you do it. Let's say you don't have anything, right? Like you don't have a sphere, you don't have any of that. But then those people turn into your sphere, right? Like you're paying for that Zillow lead, but if you really keep in contact with them like you're supposed to over time, then they're part of your sphere, so it turns into more deals.
How long would you say the conversion is or has been with Zillow?
I've had 2 clients that we saw the property and like we made the offer and that was it. And then I still have people that I'm talking to that, because I stopped paying for Zillow 8 months ago, right? So I've been talking to some people for a year.
Dang. Okay. For
But I
those
do
that
feel
are
like they're more motivated.
that you do feel that they're more motivated?
Yeah, when they hit the Zillow button. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What like advanced tips, strategies, techniques can you give for people that are on Zillow now of what worked for you?
I really think the best advice that I got was get the in-person appointment. Don't start with, let's do a buyer consult. Let's get your pre-approval. Let's do and I know we should but I will do one showing without a pre-approval because they don't know me from anybody. You know what I mean? Like I literally had a client who hit the Zillow button and was drunk. Okay. So he's like, what? You answered? I'm drinking, and I had run upstairs again, right? I'm having dinner with my kids and I'm like, the Zillow, oh my God, so I run upstairs and I want to be in the MLS, right? Because I want to see what they're looking at. And I'm just drinking here with my wife. And, I can't believe somebody answered, so I was like, okay. And then right when I don't care what property it is, just try to meet up with them, try to just schedule so you have an in-person thing. Because once you're in person, then you could build that rapport really quick and then move forward. But that's my biggest tip is don't sit there and start saying, are you pre-approved? Do you have an agent? Of course you want to find that out when you talk to them in person. But I think the most important thing is that, and then the follow-up. You have to keep following up. And when you go meet a Zillow lead, make sure you have the other properties that are similar to that property. So you can be like, oh, well, this property is available too. So that kind of thing.
Dude, Melissa, we're going to ask. We want to know exactly what you say on the phone. Can we do a little bit of a role play? Because, okay, so when you do this Zillow, it's a handover, right? Like Zillow calls you. Yes. Can you walk us through it?
Yes. So Zillow says, you're receiving a call. You have, and they try to get the name, but it's like a weird recording thing. They're like, you're receiving a call from who is interested in blah, 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 123 Main Street, right? And then the thing will pop up on your phone, the address, the listing, right? Through Zillow. But you still I want to get in the MLS and be, if I'm not, I'm not. Like I've answered it in the car before and I just make do, but if I'm near my laptop or whatever and I could get in, then, then they connect and I'm like, hey, this is Melissa Roybal with Gateway Properties. Like, how's it going? I see that you're interested in touring. You usually get a request for a tour, right? And I'm like, oh, so you wanted to see this property? And they're like, yeah. And then I try to be honest with you, I try to say, so when do you want to see it? Whatever. I'm not even trying to, and then I start asking them if they book the appointment, then I start asking them, how long have you been looking? What do you like about this property? Is this kind of typically what you're looking for? Are you open to looking at other properties? But I just keep it like short and, I'll meet you there. So I really want to get the appointment. And then at the appointment, it's basically like a buyer consult. So as we're like walking around, I'm like asking them all kinds of questions. I want to know just everything about them. You know how they say when you ask like, why this, why that? I think that's the best way to do it, because you're finding out about them, because there's a lot of reasons why people are buying. It's not just, they want the 4-3 or whatever. They're moving, their kids are moving, whatever. So I try to find out everything about them. And I'm a chatterbox, so it works.
I love how in the beginning you were like, yeah, this couple was so weird. They were shy.
They were. I was trying to talk to them so much. I didn't even find out what they did till the third visit. I mean, they were so like, I really thought they were not going to call me back. I'm like, they were so scared to buy. They were so scared.
Dang. And that's like the perfect, I always talk about this with people where I feel like overall, very generally classifying, categorizing clients. There are people that want to be led and there are people that feel like they need to lead. And majority of the time, or at least those that I have worked with, they want to be led. Like whether like they could not say a word there. I have also been on conversations that are just pulling teeth. I'm like, oh my, do you guys even talk to each other?
I
Do you guys
know.
say anything? Yeah. So then like it's all the more reason for somebody like you to be like, okay, come on, just jump on my back. Let's go.
Yeah.
And they're probably grateful.
Yeah.
For the babbling, just in general, like they're like, oh, I don't have to say anything. Thank God.
Yeah. And I think for realtors, like at least advice for realtors, it's, with the follow-up, I know a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to bug or whatever. But a lot of times, like I've heard from people like, oh, thanks for following up. Like life is crazy, right? Life is crazy for everybody. So it's, you have to keep following up, because I mean, you're a stranger still, so you have to build that rapport.
Okay. And then, so you build the rapport in person, do you have any, say for spouses or more than one person purchasing, on the first phone call, do you make sure that all parties are going to be there? Or is it just like first come, first serve, whoever you end up meeting with? Thank you for listening. Out of respect for your time, we want to make this show as valuable as possible for you. So if you have any feedback on how we can improve, please let us know. DM us at Allie the Agent and The Shelby Show.
Yeah, it's whoever I end up meeting with. If it's, and we've talked about this, Allie, but if it's something else, yeah, for sure. That's my thing now where, hey, everybody needs to be, some weird stuff has happened. I mean, people don't want to tell their wife this stuff. They don't want to, someone wants to buy with asking me, can they buy on their own name? Just, everybody needs to be there. But in the first visit, no, because sometimes it will be like the guy that was drunk, right? He like went by himself, and met me by himself. And he's, oh, I'm on my lunch, And then I was like, okay, do you like this property? He's like, yeah, my wife gets off, and then we'll come back, So I do push it though. I do say, hey, is your wife going to come back, or whoever is buying with them? Sometimes it's like sister, brother, whoever. But the first one, I won't. I just want to get there and have them like me, basically.
After that, you mentioned having other properties at the ready. So is that's like a just in case kind of?
Yeah, for sure. Cause I mean, a lot of time, I think I've had a few where it's like that property and they walk in and they're like, I love this property, whatever. But a lot of times you'll have people that are just, sometimes they're just starting their search. So, I think having the other properties just shows them, it makes you look more professional too. You're showing them that you know the market. So.
Yeah. And if they have time after, let's go check out the other two properties that are somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure that they're like vacant on lockbox so I could go. So they're not like, oh, this is cool. And you have to make an appointment,
So how, with the follow-up, with those that are not as instantaneous, what are the best strategies, or what do you do for follow-up for these online leads?
Yeah, I need to know, because so this is the problem too. Like my systems are like that. This is why I listen to your podcast all the time, because I love this, because that's what I need. I tell myself I need to take 2 weeks off. And then of course someone wants to buy or sell, right? Right when you try to take off and you're like, I'm doing my systems. And yeah, so that's a mess. But so I have the time, or I've had the time. I think I have the time, but I literally I know, like I have my whiteboard, right? Like who is looking for this, that, and then I look for properties and I follow up with them. But I definitely need, system in place. even if it's like a drip or things like that. Yes, I put everybody on property alerts and stuff like that, but sometimes stuff comes up that people don't want too. So I still look. So I do spend a lot of time like, looking for what people want and doing all of that. And then I just know who they are and I'm calling them or following up with them. So it's all manual. I really need a better system for sure.
For the follow-up, the fact that you're doing it though, better than a lot. So I want to ask, like, when you are following up, can you take us through what that call or what that interaction looks like specifically?
I do ask people, like, is it easier for you to text? Is it easier for a call, email? Because some people will get annoyed, right? Some people work outside of the home, some people are at home. But basically, especially the first week, like I'm sending them properties every day. So every day I'm like, it's funny because I in the morning, like I get up super early and that's my time to do, MLS, looking at what's on the market, this and that. And then I start following up with everybody. So in the beginning, especially if they're and then I'm making sure they're getting pre-approved right away. So on our first meeting, I'm connecting them with the lender by text. I'm like, I have this great lender. I'm going to put her on a text with you. So I don't go and deal with, oh, I'll call them later or, I'm going to email you their info. No, like we just connect by text so that they can get on a phone call.
Okay, so right away you're connecting with the lender, and then for the first week, based on their criteria and what you learned about them through that walkthrough where you did essentially your questioning upon the walking, you've gathered that information, you were sending them properties essentially every single day for the first week. And then hypothetically, they like go colder or the right property doesn't come up. Are you just at that point, whenever you catch their name on the whiteboard, like shooting them a text, like, hey, I'm thinking about you today? Or what is it? Is your follow-up process like always sending properties? What is
I check in once a week for sure. So if they're not ready to buy, a lot of them are kind of ready to buy, especially when they hit the Zillow button. I've noticed that. But if they're not, like the people that I've been talking to for a year, like once a week, I'll check in and I will randomly be like, hey, what's going on? How's it going? I don't want to be like, oh, here's like a robot, right? Here's your properties all the time. So if I don't have properties to send them, I'll be like, oh, how's your kids? How's I send people happy Thanksgiving, how's it going? Whatever. So just random things like that. But I do make sure it's once a week.
Curious about how many leads did that $2,000 or the $1,600 in Zillow produce, like per month?
Per month? I mean,
or total, whatever number that you can pull out and toss my way. I'm ready to.
I want to say we were getting, I think it's a hot zip code because I at least want to say I was getting like 2 a week, maybe 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah, dude. I feel like that's sick. And especially if they're ready to buy.
Yeah, because some people were like, oh no, Zillow sucks. Like you only get, you hardly get any. And I was getting calls, but then they said too, that's why that zip code was more expensive. So
Yeah, at Five Pillars Retreat, I sat down with a guy that's focused on Zillow Leads because I know nothing about Zillow Leads, and there's a whole strategy. Like this, it's not just throw money and here you go. It's like the zip code, and you want to make sure that you're number one. Otherwise, if you're number three, it's not even worth the money. I'm like seeing all that like behind the scenes, in person. I was like, whoa, this is because Melissa, I don't even know if I told you I am moving. Don't know when yet, but like sometime in 2024, I'm moving to Minneapolis. And so I'm like, being that I don't know anybody except for the in-laws,
yeah,
do I buy Zillow Leads? So
right.
yeah, sitting down with this kid, I was like, holy crap, this is a whole like strategy thing. Is there anything else that we haven't covered about online leads or Zillow?
I
In that
think
category?
what you brought up just rang a bell too, because if you update the call in their CRM, there's these things you can do to get points. So you come up better. And the Zillow reps are really good. And they even have like Zillow classes that you can take, so you can get all into it and know how to, because you want to be best of Zillow. Your conversion rate needs to be a certain amount, but it's a whole thing. So yeah, but I think honestly, if you do Zillow, take advantage of the resources and do everything you can to learn about it. So
Wow, Zillow classes, are those free?
they have Zillow Academy or something, and they have some good tips, but if you use their CRM inside, so you're kind of double doing work, and then if you answer your calls all the time, and then your conversion rate, stuff like that will bring you up higher.
Classic Allie. Her first response is it free?
I mean, if I'm paying $2,000,
yeah,
better be free.
right?
You know?
Oh my gosh.
Shut up, Shelby.
Well, it's just funny because it's like we had a Five Pillars like weekly team sync earlier today, and Allie was doing like her business breakdown, and I was like reading like the amount of money that she made from all these closings and like killed it out the gate in this industry. And then at the end, I was like, but she's also still the very cheapest person that I know.
That's why, right? That's awesome.
No,
I
it's
love
dope.
that. We do need to
Okay.
be mindful about our money.
Melissa, so you've grabbed these people, these Zillow leads as they come in, you get them to the appointment and you charm them with your personality. And then some of them may or may not be new home buyers. And the reason why I'm framing it this way is because your tool for the Agent Goldmine, your golden nugget, if you would, which everyone can get at theagentgoldmine.com, is 20 tips when working with new home buyers. So could you talk us through your process of working with new home buyers?
Sure. Yeah. So this is for new construction homes. So sorry, I'm trying to move it over.
Perfect.
Oh, new.
We actually haven't even, I don't
buyers.
think we've ever gone deep on this, Allie,
I don't
have
know.
we?
That's why I did it. Cause I was like, cause I listened to your podcast and I was like, cause I didn't want to do, some same thing. So I was
Some
like,
it's already been done. No, this is exciting.
so, okay. Well, sorry that I'm looking the other way. I'm trying to figure out how to move it. I'm
You're
on
so rude, Melissa.
my husband's thing and he has 6 screens cause he's a website guy. So
Okay, this totally makes sense. It's new home tips, not new home buyer, new home buyer.
yeah.
Also,
And
I
so-
can't read. This is
yeah,
like,
it depends on where you live. So like I grew up and I have lived forever in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's hardly any new homes, everything's old. Like my newest home before I moved up here was built in, like 1945 or whatever. So I came up here and we bought newer home. And so I'm in the middle of a bunch of new home communities being built up. So like if anybody's a realtor that's near new home communities, it's really good to spend some time on it. I mean, I put, I don't know if you want me to go through all of the tips or.
Whichever ones are like the most important.
Yeah. So I think like you really have to hone it down and get, even get a binder going and know every single new home build in the community, and of course, like we don't want to work for free, right? So know which ones actually cooperate with realtors, because you can find that out and they'll tell you, because all the new home builds, they have the sales offices, they have realtors there, right? But the realtor, and if you walk in without a realtor, so if you walk in without a realtor, that's it. Like you cannot get representation usually. That's their rule, right? You have to bring your realtor on your first visit or else they're helping you. And a lot of people have the misconception that if they go in, they're going to get help by then. They work for the builder. They're not going to tell you that the builder is going to give you 30K in seller credits towards interest rate buy down, right? They're not going to tell you that they'll throw in the washer dryer and, window coverings, right? So you do need a realtor. And a lot of people don't know about that, but you do. So that's the first thing. It's if you have anybody that comes in, and sometimes Zillow leads will come in that are looking for brand new homes. So you need to tell them like, hey, if you need representation, I need to go with you. So you need to hammer that in on the buyer consultation and be like, you need to take me with you when we go to the new home. But you really should be, if you're going to be doing new homes, you really should be on top of like special assessment taxes, because those are all in California. If you're in a new home build, you have special assessment taxes. We have to have solar. So you need to, solar's included and you're going to pay for it. You're either going to buy it or you're going to lease it. So you need to know things like that. You should know the options, you should know the floor plans and visit the model homes. Like it's a good social media thing too. Like they'll let you just go in and do video and it's pretty, right? So it looks good when you're on, doing a reel on Instagram and you have a nice model home. So and then you're talking to the realtors there. Cause if you get to know them good enough, like they'll know when you come in and, try to help your client out. And they're helping you to try to help sell the client because they want to make their commission too, right? And then just, you could run Facebook ads and capture new home leads too, and just set the parameters, to anything built, I don't know, 2022 and above or whatnot. And then you could get new home leads like that, know the neighborhood. It's easier if you like live near that kind of neighborhood. But yeah, just having like a central thing where, all of the sales agents, Quick move-in homes have more negotiating room. So if it's already built, those are good. When you have clients, you can be like, hey, this home is already built. They're more willing. They want to get it off their books.
Melissa, okay, there's you just said so many things that I know nothing about. So clearly I know nothing about like new construction. I think
I
I've
didn't
sold
either.
one ever.
Yeah.
And it was like already a build. It was probably one of those quick move-ins.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, when you're like the builders, they won't tell you the things?
Yeah.
Can we like real quick at least go through and list the things that they won't tell you
Sure.
that you should know even exist? Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us, we'll reshare that shit. Can we like real quick at least go through and list the things that they won't tell you that you should know even exist?
Yeah, and they've told me that too. I mean, I even have friends that used to do new home builds, right? And they're like, it's not like we're trying to screw anybody. We're just like, we work for the builder. We're not going to go start giving away money, So I'll give you an example. So I did a new home build for these first-time home buyers, and we were like, and then another good thing to know is that they don't want to go down on price because they don't want to lower the comps for the neighborhood, right? So they're willing to throw in a bunch of stuff. So we went in, we asked for a price reduction. I mean, it was ridiculous. We totally lowballed them. We asked for price reduction. We asked for, give us everything, give us pay the solar, pay the washer dryer, pay the window coverings, pay the whole thing. And they're like, no. So then, we let them stew for 2 weeks, and then came back and basically asked for the same thing. And they did give it up because it was just sitting there, So what you can ask for is you can ask for anything, right? You can ask for solar. You can, if they have HOA, you can ask them to prepay HOA dues for a year. You can ask for the appliance package. You can ask for window coverings. There's certain things, of course, the closing costs and the rate buy down, especially right now. That's the big thing. So they're not, like that. Basically, they'll say, we can give you 35,000, right, for seller credits. And then you choose, if there's leftovers from the closing costs, then, okay, I want this or that. So yeah, basically that's pretty much, there's a lot of negotiating room. And right now they're doing a lot of the interest rate buy down. So it kind of gets sucked up by that, the seller credits.
That is so good. This is so good. I wish that I had listened and been a part of this podcast before I purchased this new build. But okay, solar, super quick, because not everyone that's listening is in California. Solar is mandatory in California
for the new builds. Yeah, they don't put, it's not going to cover your whole bill because there's a minimum, and they'll put the minimum amount of panels, but it does help, right? But it's either you can purchase it or you can lease it. And it's kind of one of those things, kind of like a buy down, where you need to run the numbers, because do you really, if you buy it for 30,000 or 20,000 or whatever it's going to be, are you really going to stay there long enough to make it worth it? When you could lease it for $100 a month, or I forget what we pay. I think it's $110 a month or something,
Dude, is this like, so I recently talked to someone who was talking about the like utilities in California being like insane, astronomical. Is that, so I know nothing about this. Is this like making them mandatory for purchase or lease? Is this like in an effort to, or do you know the reason behind it?
I think they're just trying to be more energy efficient, but it does vary on, it's a big deal, like the solar thing, because I'm in Sacramento County, and we don't have PG&E for electric, but you go over one county and people's utility bills could be up to $1,000 a month, right? So I had this one client where it was full solar, like for a 5,000 square foot house. And that was a big selling point, that they bought that, and they were in that county that was really expensive, and they had no utility bill whatsoever. So it's a selling point. Like if you have, if you can say, oh, I own the solar or whatnot, it is a selling point. So it's worth it. But for California, they made that thing, and it doesn't cover everything. It's 13 panels or something.
Okay. You mentioned special assessment taxes earlier. And I have a little bit of experience with special assessments from the city inputting a sewer line, and then, doing a special assessment back to the owners. Can you tell us about what is the special assessment for this area? How much does it cost?
Sure.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. So it's called Mello-Roos over here. So every new home community is going to have Mello-Roos. So what they do is they put this, it's called a community facilities district together. And then it's going to fund, the parks, the schools, the fire station, all that stuff, the trails, whatnot. And they all have it, and it varies, and it has to be disclosed. It's a mandatory disclosure, when you're selling the home. But for instance, I have a listing coming up next week, right? And they're still in the have the Mello-Roos, because it lasts for 25 years when you buy the new home. So theirs is $330 a month. And like here, you can actually go in as a buyer. I do tell people, like, there's a link where you could go into the assessor's office for Sacramento County, and you can look at people's tax bills, and it'll say right there, like, I help them to look at, what it is that adds up to the Mello-Roos. But it's a big deal. I mean, it's a factor where some people are like, I'm going to move to the other side because there's, no Mello-Roos. I mean, so there's pros and cons about it.
Yeah, dude, that's something I wouldn't know to ask about. And I would be pissed, if I didn't know about it.
Yeah. So if you don't know, I mean, that's the thing. Like you should, if you're selling those new homes, you definitely should know that, because the new home build is going to tell you. But if we're getting paid, you don't want to be like, I'm just bringing you here and, here you go. And now I'm getting, $10,000, $15,000 just to, sit here and walk you in. So you should have, be providing value for sure.
For those that want to get into new construction, how would you recommend that they first talk to builders, agents that represent the builders, to get that relationship going?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going in and it's a lot, like, right? If you have a lot of like new build communities, like, I mean, it takes time to start knowing like everybody and what's going on and stuff. I mean, I suggest people go in once a week, I should be better about it too. And especially if you could do social media, right? You can go in there and be like, hey, and I tell them like, oh, I'm in a video, they're like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. But then you ask them like, what's your inventory right now? They have what's called like a hot list or whatever. And it gives you like what's available, they have their map, and they're happy to talk to you about it. I don't know, bring them some cookies or something, but just, yeah. And then ask them like, and they'll talk to you, especially a lot of them that like to talk. They'll tell you what's going on. They'll tell you too, because I'll ask, do you have any room on price? And they'll be honest, like on the quick movements, they'll be like, I think the most we could do is like 30,000 off of the price. So you start asking questions but I think really getting your face in there and going in there, weekly, if not twice a month, is really helpful. And then, it's not everything is on the MLS. So it's really hard to find, and you don't want to be caught with, your client saying, hey, Taylor Morrison down there has, these two properties for $850. Why are you showing me this one that's, $900? It's not as nice. And then you're like, oh, so yeah, knowing the inventory is super important. And I think I've tried every other way. Like I try going on their websites, and I'm telling the only way to know is to go in there. Yeah, that's the most up-to-date information.
Melissa, you mentioned Facebook ads earlier, which is like a fun little trigger for me lately. I'm like, oh, I want to know more. Can you talk about how you've used Facebook ads in your business?
Apple listeners, this short pause is to ask you for a review. Here's how to do it. Back out of the specific episode, go to the page where you see all the episodes, scroll down, keep scrolling. Perfect. Now tap those 5 stars. Thank you so much. Back to the show.
Yeah, like I was paying this company for Facebook ads a while ago, and I know how to do the Facebook ads, so I could do it on my own. And we have someone in our brokerage that does it for us when we have listings and stuff. But you could run Facebook ads targeted to, and I think you guys could do it in KV Core, actually. Like I've run some Facebook ads in KV Core where you're able to you can basically do a search for anything up to, 2023. Or let's say anything built in 2021 and newer, right? So you'll put those search parameters, and those are kind of like people that are looking for new homes. So then if they come in, then you kind of know, you're like, hey, are you looking for a new home? And then, you get the leads, they do like the one time, like you can have them look like they have to put in their information after only looking one time.
Do you want to share? We don't have to. We can also edit this part out of the company that whether you recommend them or not.
It was Whitley, and I think they're good. It was like, oh, like it's $100 a month. Like I should be more like Allie, right? I should be checking my finances.
Cheapest? Oh,
yeah. Because I'm like, I want to pay for everything, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is great, but yeah, it was Whitley, and I think they're good, but I was like, well, I got a bunch of leads and some are good, some are not, so then I was like, well, I could do it myself. And then I have been thinking of running a new home ad again, just to, since we have so many people here, but I know like Street Text does seller leads, like seller Facebook ads to capture sellers. So I've thought of looking into them, but again, it's another, I think it's like $100 a month, which it's, if you get even one deal, it's worth it. So, but
Yeah. And so specifically the ad that you're running, is it a photo of one specific house, or is it like,
yes.
hey, home buyers that are looking in this neighborhood? Okay. It's of one house.
Yeah. They had me give them a photo of an example. It was a while back, but they had me give them a photo, and then they had me give them like my IDX thing, where they could set up the search or whatever. So it was basic. And then after that, I was like, I think I did a couple through we just moved to Boomtown, but we were doing KV Core. So we did a couple where I tried to finagle it through KV Core, but then I had to advertise it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna sound dumb maybe, but wait, so is this like you're boosting a listing?
No,
this is an
different.
actual ad.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It was an actual ad. Yeah. Yeah.
How long do you run it for?
You could run it for however. I heard it takes a while to like ramp up. So I'm doing a Facebook ad for my listing that's coming up, and we're going to put it up I'm putting it on the market on Wednesday, but I think we're going to do it takes a while, like some people are saying like they're getting leads, even, let's say it sells fast, you run it for 2 weeks. So initially you should run it for 2 weeks, but even if it sells, you'll still be getting leads coming in, and you could do $5 a day, $10 a day. The more money you put, the more leads you get.
Okay. I've never really run I've never run Facebook ads, so I don't even know what questions to ask. What is there?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't covered?
Well, that's, and the thing is, it's right. Like I'm trying to figure out what is the best money, right? Do you want to pay $2,000 for Zillow, or if you spent, $300 a month on Facebook ads, right? So that's kind of where I'm going right now. I don't know. I think I'm going to start trying to see what happens if I run a couple of Facebook ads, and I'll definitely let you guys know. But
Yeah. And thank you. And how are you tracking the difference between like which leads are most beneficial for you?
I mean, honestly, I've done a lot of open house clients this year. Like 1/3 of my business has been honestly open houses, so I hesitate to do them because I don't want to be like, it's my weekend, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am like, I'll look to see whoever's closed, like where do they come from and stuff. But I am interested in, I do want to say the Zillow leads, I think were more like, I want to buy right now, versus when I've done the Facebook ads. It's kind of like, oh, I'll get a couple, but I also haven't, when the Facebook ads, I feel like you need a good system, because the Zillow leads were not like the Facebook ads. A lot will come in, and you do need a good system of follow-up. So I feel like I should have an equal system, because I feel like I've been better about following up with Zillow leads. So maybe that's why I've converted them better. So, but Zillow's platform is easy, that when they put it in and they have the notes and the call recorded. So
yeah, done for you.
There's a lot of hate for Zillow, but they,
kind of get what you pay for
together
a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll have to have you come back on once you've gone through this debate.
Once I have my
fully.
system.
And then we can pick your brain better. And Allie and I will do research in the meantime and figure out what to ask, what not to ask. And actually, listeners, if any of you out there are like, Facebook ads is your thing, you know about it, or you know someone who does, hit us up, the Agent Goldmine on the gram, or Allie the Agent, or the Shelby Show, and let us know so we can get those people on there. But Melissa, what did we not talk about that you wanted to hit on today?
I don't, the only thing I would say with agents is like, just, keep going, get your systems in place, don't give up, just keep going and going, because I think, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, where you just, keep doing the same thing. Eventually you're going to get results, and then to leverage, I know we didn't talk about that, but I'm really at the point where I think my one goal for 2024 is to get an assistant. It's too much. You can't scale by yourself, And Allie, I should have done it way back I mean, it's been what, 2 years when you were telling me about it. And I should have done it back then because hold off, but then you're spending on all these other things, right? So, last night I was up till 2 doing my marketing for my listings. I really don't need to be doing this. So yeah, I
Oh
think
my
just
gosh.
leverage as soon as you can, get your systems in place. I talked to somebody that wants to become an agent and she got licensed. And I was like, if you have the money, start off, do all these things to get all your stuff in place.
Okay. So Melissa, what's next for you?
I just
Besides being an assistant.
The assistant. And then what?
I know. I just need to scale. Obviously, I don't want to be doing this forever, but it's more like I just want to do it to know I can do it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't have some big why or whatever, I know that I can do it. So, I just want to scale and get everything in place. So, but not in a crazy way. I feel like so many realtors run around and right, we're like tied to our phone, people are calling us and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. So I think really I want to be at the point where, I have like an assistant, I have a good video editor that, that I have a system with, cause that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think I probably have, another 5 years with this. And then I want to continue to invest in properties. So that's another thing. I think I've spent a lot of time just because, being back in only a year and a half, you know how it is. Like when you're trying to build the business, it's like a lot.
It's a whole grind
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Melissa, we're heading to our wrap up questions. Question number 1, what is your favorite app or tool?
Oh, I want to say for sure, I love Opus Clip. Thank you, Allie. You are the one that mentioned that. That is so good. But I'm going to give 2 because the MLS, okay, the MLS, especially, I don't think a lot of people like, I do like my weekly market update and I do my monthly market update and stuff. And I've had realtors in my city be like, oh, did you do that yourself? And I'm like, yes, there's a trends button. There's a whole, you can run whatever stat. And I still don't even think our MLS is like the greatest one, but you can go in there and run anything and you should know your market for sure. So yeah, MLS and Opus Clip, because you could get long form video and have 10 reels out of it. So
yeah. What MLS do you use? Is it Flex by chance?
No, it's Metro List. It covers like big Sacramento area, but I mean, you go into the trends and stats. Like I run the stuff really quick. People think it takes me a long time and it's really fast, and the more you run it, the more off the top of your head, you can have these conversations with your clients. So
yeah. And it's useful information for them. Like I see your market updates and they're actual important information as opposed to some other, I'll stop talking.
Yeah. People ask stuff all the time. Yeah. They ask us stuff all the time. So
yeah. Okay. Next question. What events are we seeing each other at this year? Or what events are you going to?
Right. Definitely Tom Ferry again in August. I already have the Omni booked because I'm
hell yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm rooming with you.
Allie, we need to do that.
Let's room with Melissa.
Oh yeah. Do you need roomies? 2 of them?
I do. Yeah, for sure.
We'll sleep on the floor.
It's always fun. And,
or the bathtub.
Right.
Bathtub.
Well, we might not remember if we're having fun, but yeah. And then my brokerage retreat is coming up in January. We're going to Georgia for a few days. But otherwise, I've kind of been wondering what else is going on for the next year. I try not to do, I did BP Con the year before last, but I don't know. We'll see what's going on this year. Maybe something to do with video.
Allie and I have a whole list. We are doing an entire 2024 planning session so we can be roomies at a ton of conferences and wear our Agent Goldmine like shirts everywhere. Yeah, it's going to be great. So we can send you the whole list if you'd like to join.
Send me the list.
Perfect. Okay, next question is how can we and listeners help you in your business?
I think just, I'm here in Folsom. It's in the Sacramento area. So, I'm happy to help anybody that's relocating. Yeah. And I'm happy to connect. I'm happy to connect with other realtors too. I love talking to other people and, masterminding and stuff. And like they say, you're always, if you're around people that are trying to do the same thing and you get good ideas.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you and I connected through that investing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this girl's legit. So I like you a lot.
Totally. Yeah.
And
No, it was awesome. We roomed together. We hadn't even met. And then we're like, wait, we haven't met yet. And then we roomed together at the conference. It was so fun.
I love that.
And it was like as if we had known each other. Like you're one of those people that like, as soon as we meet, it's just, we're friends, you know, like there is no walking on eggshells. It's just, hey, what's up?
Yeah. And totally real, you know, it's no, it was good.
Yeah. Okay. Folsom for referrals. And I will say first-handedly that you are one of the best referral agents. Like you keep me updated and it's so, there's no having to check in, you know, it's just like,
make you more money.
So yeah, for any referrals, anybody that you know, PCSing, moving to Folsom, hit up Melissa Roybal. So where can people find you when they want to send you a referral?
Yeah. At Melissa Roybal Homes on Instagram, my Facebook, I'm on TikTok, but Instagram is kind of like where I'm at mostly. And then my link tree is there with my phone number and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm happy to connect with anybody, you know.
The gram, the place to be.
I know,
so,
right?
Oh my God. Yeah. Listeners, go hang with Melissa, follow her, show her all the love in the world. And if you want to hang out with me and Allie, we are Allie, the agent, ALI, and the Shelby Show on the gram. We want to know what you like, what you don't like. You know, if maybe you really want to know more about leads and how people are doing the marketing strategy within their business, or maybe you want the systems and we want to know. So please let us know. We've been hearing from more and more of you lately, which has been super freaking cool. So anyway, last note, listeners, this is for you. Be a bro and share this show.
Yes,
thanks again, Melissa.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep all our resources for you. Till next time.